Welcome to part one in our series in developing our grid trading bot. In this first video, we will be developing the code for our bot so we can execute orders. In the next video, we'll be deploying our bot to the cloud, and then on the last video, we'll be um, showing the overall returns of our bot. Um, so essentially what a grid trading bot is that it will buy and sell a security based on predetermined levels. So as you can see here in this chart, we have Ethereum to the US dollar, and we have our three grid lines above our current price, and then we got three grid lines below our current price. So if the price were to hit one of these lower grid lines, then we would execute a buy order. And if the price were to hit one of these above grid lines, we would execute a sell order. So essentially what we're doing is we're buying low and we're selling high. Uh, the main thing to keep in mind is to figure out how many grid lines we're going to have and what would be the space between these grid lines. So in this example, we have 10 ticks between each of our grid lines, and we have three uh, grid lines above and below. So as you can see, this would be pretty good for day trading, but if you wanted a wider spread, that would be more suited for swing trading. If you wanted to scalp this thing, then we would have a much smaller space be between our grid lines. Now, one more thing to note is that we'll also have one last grid line past our lower and upper grid lines. So there will also be a one more that will be our take profit levels and our stop loss. So our stop loss will be just below our lowest grid line, and our take profit will be just above our highest grid line. Essentially, what is going to happen once the price hits our take profit or stop loss is that the bot will sell off all the Ethereum that we're currently holding, rather than selling or buying partial positions. It will be buying or and it will be selling off everything, no matter if it hits the stop loss or the take profit. So going back to our code, as you can see, we first have our script that will be used to stream live Ethereum data. First we have our WebSocket connection that will be called. Then we have our authentication message as well as our subscription, and then it will iterate through all of our Ethereum data. After that, we have our rules. What this will do is will be used to determine the number of grid lines that we will use for the grid trading bot, and then we'll have a space in between our grid lines that will be 100. So as you can see, we'll be doing that. And then our next method, calculate grid lines. This will be used to essentially set up our grid lines. So we have our stop loss level and take profit, which are the first things that are being calculated. What we will do is we'll set up the line count and our grid space. What this will do is it will essentially set our stop loss below, just below the lowest grid line, and our take profit just above the highest grid line. After that, we will basically set up our buy and sell lines, and then we'll return our take profit, stop loss, and all of the grid lines for our bot to use. After that, we'll need to calculate our position size. This will be used in determining our risk management strategy so we don't blow up our account within the first trade. So as you can see here in the notes, We plan on risking no more than 10% of our account. Uh, we could probably change this later, but right now this is what we'll be focusing on. Uh, and first we will take our account size. We'll be doing this by calling the Alpaca Trading API, and we'll get 10% of that. That will be our risk. After that, we'll calculate the ticks at risk by getting the line count plus 1 times our the space between our lines. So essentially, our stop loss will be the 6th line in this case, and then we have a grid space of 100 ticks. So that will be calculated for our ticks at risk. And then our position size will be the risk divided by the ticks at risk times our tick value. After that, we will round the position size to 2 decimals, and we will return that for the basically the first trade that we will execute at the start of our program. Now to the meat of our code, we'll have our grid trading bot. This will be our libraries that we'll be importing. And as you can see, this is just a basic idea of what's going on in the algorithm. I'm not going to explain this right now because it will be talked about as we go through the code. But it is also linked up in the GitHub repository, so if anybody would like to take a closer look at this, it will be there. So at the beginning of our class, we have our constructor. What this will do is it will set up a basic connection to our trading API with our API key, our secret key, and our URL. And then we will basically initialize all of our variables that we're going to be using. We can have our data URL and our API. I believe this will be the one that will be used the most. Our next method will be the current profit or loss. What this will do is we'll basically show where our account balance is at, how much money we lost or made. This will be called at the end of our program when we calculate the take profit or the stop loss. For that, we have our main method, start bot. What this will do is it will be used to essentially execute trades based on our grid lines. So as you can see here, we're getting our bar data. Then after that, we will be getting our first closing price, and then after getting our account buying power or available funds, we'll then use that to calculate our position size. Once that is done, we'll get a partial position. This will just be used for later when the price hits our predetermined grid lines. And then we will execute a initial buy order of Ethereum. After that, we'll set up our grid lines, and then we will essentially iterate through all of our bar data, and then we will execute buy and sell orders based on where the close of our Ethereum data is. So say if our closing price hits one of our buy lines, we will submit a market buy order of a partial position. And if we submit a market sell order of our Ethereum data, the closing price hits one of our sell lines, essentially we will submit a market sell of our Ethereum. Likewise, if the closing price hits our take profit, we will close all our positions, and then we'll display the current profit or loss, and then we'll start the bot over at the beginning. the same exact thing will happen if we hit the stop loss as well. As you can see, the code is actually pretty identical, except for the user message. So I might actually consider combining these into the same if statement in the future. But right now, let's just run our code. As you can see, it seems to be working. We have our initial connection, and we're authenticated, and then we have our subscription message. As you can see, we just have our bar data, and it is Ethereum USD. So as you can see here, we have our available balance, our or buying power, and then we have our calculated position size as well as the first purchase at this price. So as you can see, we have the trade that has been executed is shown there, and then it was 1874. Let's just check to see if it executed that one. Coinbase. Yeah, so as you can see, that was pretty close to what we just bought. So this bot seems to be working pretty well. Thank you for watching the video and the